Hi guys, it's your girl Lulu again. Welcome back to my channel, Lulu Loves to Live. This evening we're going to be talking a bit about TV shows, my favorite TV shows. So sit back, grab a cup of tea and let's chat. Something to admit, I didn't really grow up with a television. For the greater part of my childhood, we had a big black and white TV that didn't work 80% of the times. When it worked, it's because we had to kick it, we had to cuff it, we had to push it. So it just didn't make any sense. Instead, we grew up reading a lot. We had some encyclopedias, and that is what my brother and I did for a good time. I still love to read to today. But anyway, let's jump into my top 10 TV shows. Now, while the first 7 aren't in any particular order, the top 3 are the 3 best TV shows to me, the ones I love the most, right? First one, The Crown. So right now I am watching The Crown, and I am not someone who loves old-time TV shows, and obviously this was set way back, from the abdication of the crown and everything when Queen Elizabeth was a little girl, and of course she's in her 90s now. But I really am enjoying everything about it because I don't have to read about it. I could just sit back and let history unfold before my eyes. Now I'm in season 2 or 3, and I don't know how far they're going to go, if they're going to come current with like Meghan Markle and Harry and all of these things. But I am just enjoying the journey and taking my time through it. Now, speaking about Meghan Markle, Suits is another one of my top 10 TV shows. I've always loved Suits. I loved how the firm changed hands. I love how Harvey could bluff his way through anything. I love how Louis and Harvey had this kind of love-hate relationship. From time to time, they would switch roles. Suits was an amazing show. I absolutely could just go through Jessica Pearson's wardrobe and Donna Paulson's and just take their clothes. Obviously, a girl have a little bit more meat on the bones, so I can't fit into them. But their clothes were just out of this world. I mean, you don't see Caribbean people wearing clothes like that off the shoulder and so on to go into the office. But I found that their wardrobe was just amazing. The next TV show, Scandal. Now, for quite a while, I have been a gladiator in a suit. I just was amazed at how Olivia Pope, Kerry Washington, could take any situation and find a way to help these people who came with the most bizarre of scandals attached to their names. Yes, the romance with her and Fitz, the president, that was a nice part, a nice touch, and in reality, these things happen. But I really loved how she would get her team. Sometimes they would spend the whole night in the office, and I found that that showed good work ethic, that you will do what it took to help somebody out of a very desperate situation. So Scandal was one of my favorite TV shows for a long time. We had a whole Scandal group going on Facebook. I love Scandal, and I wish it would come back, but for now, that is one of my top 10 TV shows. Another TV show, well, I want to lump them in 3 because they kind of play one on the other, the Chicago series. So Chicago Fire, Med, and PD, love those shows. You see Voight in Chicago PD, when Voight wants to get information out of you and he hits you 2 big slap, you're starting to talk. So I just love Voight. Yes, it's wrong, but Voight would just, he was just the man. I don't have any words to explain Voight. What I also loved about the series, the 3 series, is how they would intermingle and they would have relationships. Somebody in Chicago Fire would be in somebody in Chicago PD and Med, etc. I've always loved medical shows like Grey's Anatomy, The Good Doctor, but Chicago Med, because they would have crossovers. I found that was really good writing, that you would keep the person hooked on all 3 shows because you want to follow along with how everything was going. Now, the other show I'd like to talk about is Game of Thrones. I do not like medieval shows. I didn't understand what they were saying. I had my friend, my husband, explaining, okay, it's 7 kingdoms and everybody trying to sit on the Iron Throne. I tried to watch Game of Thrones like about 8 times before I finally got past the first and second episode. Now, when I got into it, I was amazed. Of course, things like the dragons, you're like, but it's unrealistic. I don't like this. But eventually, when one of the dragons died, you felt it because, you became one with the show. So Game of Thrones has a lot of strategy in it. And since I was 8 years old, I started to play chess. And of course, chess is a game of strategy. So Game of Thrones really held my attention. I loved it down to coming down to the end, but we know in the last episodes it was like, okay, we could have ended better there. But there were some episodes before, like when Arya killed you know who. I don't want to say it just in case somebody's in the process of watching the show. But Game of Thrones definitely was in my top 10. Married at First Sight. This is a reality show. I guess it's the only reality show to make it into my top 10. And why I love this is such a crazy way of getting married. Now, it somehow reminds me of how my husband and I got married, which I will talk about in a video sometime in the future. You have to keep watching so that you can know what's going on. But Married at First Sight basically is a couple meeting for the first time at the altar on their wedding day, and then they start to date and get to know each other. So you see how they navigate through that whole courting phase and the first fights, the breakups, the makeups. And 6 months later, they do a reunion to see who made it, who's still together, who had a baby, who's pregnant. So I really, really enjoy Married at First Sight. I understand that there's a new season out. My friend in Barbados is telling me, Luan, hurry up and start to watch it. But oh gosh, I'm watching The Crown now. But I have a bad habit. I like to watch a show until it finishes. So when I'm finished with The Crown, then I will start Married at First Sight. Now, the other TV show is one that quite recently started, Bridgerton. So let's have some tea. Aww. So Bridgerton took the airwaves by storm. Everybody started talking about Bridgerton, everything about Bridgerton. Now, yes, there are some scenes in there, but what stood out for me was the liberty that marriage gave this couple. The freedom they had after. And it really speaks to the class of people long ago. Imagine somebody kissing you long ago and oh, it's like if they almost take your whole virginity. I find Bridgerton was such a proper show, and you have to say, well, my dance card isn't full, so now you could ask for a dance. Nowadays, people go to a party, they just dance. But I found that Bridgerton was a very classy show, and I love how persons of different races were portrayed. It made for very good watching. But then again, it's Shonda Rhimes, so what do you expect? Shonda Rhimes wrote Scandal. Shonda Rhimes is an excellent writer. So I was really, really pleased with Bridgerton. Now, my top 3. Now, it was really hard to come up with and say, okay, these are my top 3 favorite TV shows. But here goes. Number 3 is Blacklist. A lot of people watch Blacklist. And in a nutshell, Raymond Reddington is an FBI fugitive, most wanted, but he has so much intel on other fugitives that he's working along with the FBI to bring these persons to justice. That's it. Throughout all the seasons, they have you wondering if Elizabeth Keane is his daughter or not. Is she his daughter or not? And it's doing some flashbacks. It spans across so many continents, so many different characters, the little plots. Blacklist is a bore show. I love it, and I would encourage anybody to watch it. My number 2 show is Money Heist. Money Heist, listen, we lick up Money Heist in a matter of days. The show was so addictive. And Professor, he was so nervous, and every time he get nervous and you think they're going to get caught, you get nervous too. But Money Heist, it did it for me. I loved everything about Money Heist. And I love how, they got the public to support them. Imagine thieves getting the public to feel sympathy towards them and empathy. So Money Heist was just an amazing show, and I wish there were more seasons. Number 1 show, controversial, coarse language, but you see power. Omari Hardwick. I say no more. So Power gave us a real peek into the lives of drugs, cleaning money, power, everything that goes with it. The sacrifices, the casualties, people who die, people who live, friends that betray you. Power was an amazing show, and I started to watch the Power Part 2. I haven't finished, I haven't continued for a while, but Power, the first Power, the original Power, is absolutely hands down my favorite TV show. Now, the next show I'm planning to watch after Married at First Sight is Lupin, people calling it different things. I am interested in watching that. But please tell me in the comments down below, what are some of your favorite TV shows? Probably I'll take them in. Now, there are some TV shows that didn't make the cut, but they were very close calls. Some shows that I absolutely loved were Shooter with Bob Lee Swagger. This guy could shoot anything from anywhere. He was really good. The plot was good, and I found that that show was nothing short of amazing. I also loved How to Get Away with Murder. I watched it. I stopped watching it for a year or so. I came back to it. But Viola Davis, excellent actress, couldn't ask for a better show. Other shows that almost made it were new Netflix type shows. So like Sweet Magnolias with Heather Headley. You know she's Trinidadian, right? So Heather Headley acted in that show. I also love Virgin River. It's a very nice chick flick. You could just relax. You know, you don't have to think too hard or think too much. It's just one of those shows. And Rosewood. I love Maurice Chestnut, and that show where he was the pathologist, I found it had a lot to offer. So those are some shows that almost made the list. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share my channel. Thanks again, and have a great evening, guys.